Hello, and welcome to Xbox International Airlines. We are in flight number 37. So, guys, sit down, fasten your seatbelts, and get ready for such an awesome, fantastic show we have for you all tonight. First and foremost, let me introduce this cool and fantastic panel. Let us start with the barbecue expert, the power wash expert, our Papi Chulo, Mr. Silent Cypher. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I'm caught off guard every time you do that, but I'm good. I'm doing great. Excited to be with you guys. Glad that we're halfway through the work week and excited to talk about some gaming. So yeah, let's get into it.
Nice. All right. Now, it's time to introduce the man who took 200 hours to my bad. The man who took 200 takes to do an unboxing video has now a driver's seat. I don't even know how the heck he's gonna drive in that driver's seat. Silent, what do you think though? He showed he's got a driver's seat in his living room now. God help us all. Seriously, he's gonna crash into us and hurt us all in Forza.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yep. I hope it gets better, but yeah, the man with the world record, and you know what that record is, right, chat? Mr. Sourblow, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, even though I cut my lip today. But other than that, everything popping green. It's the green season again this year. The Celtics gonna come to take it all, and just excited to be here.
That's why you cut your lip.
No.
Yep, that's why you cut your lip.
It's the curse. It was the Celtics curse.
Celtics curse.
And now, hold on, because you can't introduce yourself every time. So this time, I'm gonna introduce yourself. I'm gonna introduce you.
You're gonna introduce yourself? Okay, Sarah, introduce yourself then.
Yes, I am Sourblow. Nice to meet everyone. No, anyway, the guy that never shows up at Forza Friday. He forgets. The guy that forgets what show he's on. He takes like 300 takes to say hello in a video. Worst cable management in Earth history. I mean, nothing worse than that. None other than Goofy Lou. Yay!
You forgot.
How you doing, Goofy? I mean, good, Lou.
You forgot to mention the Paul Blart lookalike. I read that.
The what?
The Paul Blart lookalike? Who put that in there? Obviously, that couldn't have been me. So.
Oh, I thought that was Sour though. I don't look like Paul Blart though.
Nah.
Do I though? I look like Kevin Duncan. Is that his name though? Kevin Duncan is?
Kevin James?
Oh, Kevin James. What did I get Kevin Duncan though? Do I look like Kevin James though? Nah, I look like Wolverine though. I look like Hugh Jackman. Yes, I found that out this morning. But yes, man, I'm doing pretty awesome, pretty fine, man. I'm really happy, really excited for today's show. And thank you for that awesome intro. Even though I always make fun of you guys, yeah, I'll take a hit one day. It's good that I take a hit. But yeah, man, let's have some fun. We got a long way to go. Let's go.
All right. So,
yep.
So actually, real quick, before we dive into everything, did just want to bring something up real fast. That kind of, unfortunate news that we ended up seeing online. So it's actually sourced from Game Rant that I ended up seeing the article about it. but it's regards to one of the Metro Exodus devs ended up unfortunately losing his life previously during this whole Ukrainian war. In regards to it, some of the details on the article, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to butcher it. Unfortunately, I'm not great with names. But in a post on Twitter today, um, one of the other developers had announced that 4A Games developer had been killed in combat mission during the Ukraine fighting with the country or fighting for their independence. And he had worked on a bunch of animation side of things. Was responsible for many of the animations in 2019's acclaimed first-person shooter Metro Exodus. So just wanted to have a quick moment of silence for him. All right, go for it.
All right.
All right.
Rest in peace, man. Seriously, man. Oh, that's tough news to go through. Really sad, man.
Yeah.
Well, before we start the show, though, let's start with you, Sourblow. What have you been playing, brother?
Oh my God, you kind of should know what I've been playing. I've been playing some Witcher 3. Oh man, I've been playing so much Witcher. I love that game. And now, super excited with all the news we're gonna talk about later on. But yeah, mostly Witcher 3. What else? Oh, I played some Grounded with you guys, and
Yeah.
I think other than that, I haven't had a chance to play anything else. So yeah, that's been my gameplay.
We gotta hop on back to Grounded. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. How about you, Silent Sapphire? What have you been playing, brother?
So you know what? I've also been playing Grounded, but unfortunately I haven't been playing Grounded with you guys because my schedule has kind of been very up in the air recently. But man, I'm really loving that game. I remember when it first came out in game preview and I tried to play around with it and it was cool. But I knew very early on, I was like, I just want to wait until this thing hits 1.0 before I dive into it personally. Like, I know a lot of people that have spent a bunch of time in it. I know I think Colt, he said he has like 400 hours in it, Colt Eastwood did with his kids, which is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
but my kids weren't super interested at that point when the game came out. My son's super into it now. So he and I have actually been playing a bunch of that, and that's been a lot of fun. But besides that, I actually just dove back into Yakuza 0. So I've been playing that as well because it was brought up in another podcast that I listened to, and it dawned on me. I was like, oh, you know what? I never finished through those games. I still need to go back, of which all of them are on Game Pass. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's like it's an easy sell when it's already right there in your library. I just had to put hard drive space out there for it, right? So yeah, that's all I've been playing. But crazy, what have you been playing?
Oh, I've been playing a little bit Grounded with Sourblow and Mr. Dark. And what else have I been playing? Oh, I started Cyberpunk. And
Finally.
Yes, I started Cyberpunk. And yes, General C told me something. I was like, yeah. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, let's go. Oh, man, I was laughing my butt off on Twitch, man, when I saw that. But let's not get into this. This is a PG show, so we gotta behave. But yeah, man. Other than that, man, it's a fun game. I'm really having a lot of fun. I'm getting attached to the story. It's really fun.
It's a great game.
Yeah, it is. It is. I can't wait. I mean, after I log off here, I'm gonna jump right back to it and see where I'm going to. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's such a good game. Oof, such a good game. Oh well. Sour, give us the flight itinerary for today. We got a lot of stuff going on, huh?
All right. Yeah. Yes, we do. We're gonna talk a little bit about CD Projekt Red, which we have already talked about two of their games. We actually are playing two big games. We're also gonna talk a little bit about there was a Dead Space trailer. We're gonna talk about Google Stadia being dead. We're gonna talk about some competitors that are ramping up, and competition is ramping up everywhere. And of course, stay tuned, stay there, because we got a special interview with my best friend Jim Ryan.
Mm.
He's the best, man. He's the best. Anyways, let's go with our captain for our in-flight passenger announcement.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Sour has turned on the subscribe button sign. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Please stow your food and beverages next to your desk, underneath your seat, or in front of you. Please take your seat and fasten your seatbelt. And also make sure that your seat is back and you've hit that notification bell.
Whoa.
We gently remind you that smoking and drinking are not prohibited on this flight. However, trying to convince us that a British accent is very similar to a Middle Eastern accent is strictly prohibited.
Oh,
I'm
so
looking at you crazy.
yep.
If you have any questions about our flight today, please don't hesitate to ask one of our flight panelists. Thank you. Back to you.
I guess it's
All right.
I guess it's Pick on Louis Day again too. Every day is Pick on Louis Day.
Anyway,
Yep.
let's jump into some quick news before Crazy start complaining. But I'm gonna spit some very fast news, and then we're gonna stop at some of them, some of the most interesting. We have Dragon Age 4 is starting a refresh, so kind of like a soft reboot. We have Overwatch 2 release. We know the disaster that has been with the servers, and then Overwatch 1, of course, it's dead now. Which we even had Snoop Dogg complaining about that. We have all the rumors with Halo Infinite moving from engines, and we had their Forge video, which I kind of like that they're doing like step by step, like what they're doing with Forge. I guess they should do that with their other stuff. Their last video is lighting and audio. We also had a very cool video of a trailer of a game called Wild Heart. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you go out and try to watch the trailers. It looks pretty interesting, that game. But let me stop now with CD Projekt Red, which we got a lot of information actually from them. We got that they want to expand their franchise to books, comics, TV, films. They want to do partnerships. They want to sell, merchandise, and they also want to get into mobile games. We have that they are making a next gen update for Witcher 3, and we also have, of course, the announced DLC for Cyberpunk. We have that there's gonna do 2 Witcher spin-off, and they also is gonna be a new trilogy. And then we have Cyberpunk sequel also, in the work, or that's at least it's going to be in the work. And then last but not least, they have a new IP called Project Hadar. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. But anyway,
I think it's Haddon. Isn't it Haddon? Am I wrong?
No, it's ends with an A, R with an R. But anyway,
Alright.
real quick, for me, I'm personally super excited. I played already Cyberpunk. I love Cyberpunk, and then Witcher 3. I love Witcher 3. To me right now, I consider it actually the best RPG. I'm like 50 hours in, and I'm not even close to ending it because I'm doing like all the side quests as possible. The side quests, to me, they are the, maybe I'm wrong, but to me, they are the best studio at making side quests. Their side quests, I haven't seen nothing compared to that. So I am very excited to, the next Witcher 3 trilogy, what they're going to do next with the new IP. I hope it's their own IP because, these IPs aren't really their IP. So I want to see what they can build from the ground up. I am excited for this Cyberpunk sequel also. But let me ask Silent real quick. Is there any of these news that excite you the most? Like what pops in your head? Is it the mobile games or the books?
Is it the mobile games? He says. Oh, you got my blood pressure rising with that one. No, honestly, if anything for me, because I've kind of been thinking about it, and I was excited to see, announcements and some of the start to flow from the company again, right? Because it feels like for the longest time, the news trajectory was just, it was abysmal. It was like downer after downer after downer for so long. It felt like it was kind of hitting a 3-4-3 tone.
Yeah.
It was pre 4-3, we could say it. But if anything, the thing is like, yes, I'm excited about some of the potential stuff like Cyberpunk sequel or like Witcher and stuff like that. But I think the thing that gets me the most is just I'm happy that it looks like they've kind of sorted out their issues, and it looks like they're starting to be able to diversify their portfolio again in maybe a more responsible approach than what they had in the past. And it looks like they're starting to fire on all cylinders again. That's why I say it's not necessarily one specific thing that gets me. It's the whole picture, right? Like there's a lot going on there, and obviously they're starting to put that care in again. They're getting to a pretty good point, it seems like, on their different projects. So
Okay. Now let me ask Crazy a different question. Crazy, from their
Mhm.
new IP, like what did you expect, and what would you like them to jump into?
No IP. Wow. Here's the thing though with them. Pretty much we seen work in both things. I mean, we seen work on third person IPs, and we saw them right now playing doing first person IPs. Like for example, the Cyberpunk is first person, and then Witcher third person, and they all look good. So what should they jump in though? That's an interesting question. I really don't know because everything those guys do, everything is interesting. I mean, look at Cyberpunk. I'm having fun with it, and
Yeah.
Witcher, which is one of the best RPGs in history, one of the best.
yep.
Of course, Chrono Trigger is first though for me, but Witcher is one of my top 10 best RPGs out there.
Oh wait,
And
I forgot Chrono Trigger, but yeah,
uh,
keep going.
oh,
Sorry.
never forget Chrono Trigger. Never forget that. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Seriously, I don't have any idea like how to get into that head in their heads because
Okay, let's
whatever they do,
let me
it's
ask you this.
perfect.
Okay,
All
you
right,
are the new boss of CD Projekt Red.
not a good idea.
And I know, definitely not a good idea. But anyway, but you are responsible of their next
Whoa.
game, like of giving them the idea, like, okay, I want a superhero game or I want a horror game. What would be your pitch for them? Like, I want you to make me this type of game.
Oh, you know what I would do? I would do since they're really good with monsters and everything. I will make them do a Berserk game. That's what I'll make them do. Guts. That's
Okay.
the game I want. I know From Software has done a lot of stuff with Guts and Berserk, but I want these guys to do it because they know how to make a good plot and everything. Just everything about CD Projekt Red or what they do is good. The only thing is, what we got to work on is getting those release games not being so damn buggy. But other than that,
Yeah,
everything is
definitely.
good with them. Yeah,
But
that's something we got to work on.
since we were talking about monsters and stuff, let's
Hmm.
keep it there and let's keep it with you, Crazy. I mean, we have Scorn actually moved their release date. It was supposed to launch October 21st, and it's releasing now. It's releasing now October 14th. It's a horror title. I'm sure you've seen lots of gameplay. They have shown some gameplay,
Yeah,
and
bro.
we also saw was it today or yesterday, the Dead Space trailer. What was your reaction with these two trailers, and how excited are you?
I gotta tell you something though. For Dead Space, I'm cool because I already played it before and I love Dead Space. It's a pretty fun game, and I'm happy that they keep the same formula. Tight space, and those tight spaces. You gotta or shoot or you're screwed. That's what you gotta do. There's like no way turning back on that. You gotta kill those monsters and destroy the limbs. So I'm glad they're maintaining that idea, and I'm glad, and just the way it looks is beautiful. I mean, I was like, whoa, this looks awesome. But not like Callisto Protocol though. But yeah, it looks awesome. It looks awesome. I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited for it. But Scorn, man, what can I say about Scorn? Am I excited about it? Hell yeah, I am. I've been waiting for Scorn for a long, long, long time, and I can't wait to see. I mean, not to see, just to grab it and play it because I have seen so much about it. And every time I go on Twitter, I see more gameplay, more gameplay, more gameplay. I just don't want to look at it as much because the sad thing is, it's only an 8-hour game. I thought it was gonna be longer. But I just don't want to look at much at it because I don't want any more spoilers. And yes, I'm pretty hyped about it. Scoring is gonna be awesome, and I can't wait till October 14th to get my hands on it. And I'm really happy that they are releasing it early. That's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
All right. Silent. Let me ask you this. I know you're excited for Dead Space. So for first of all, what were your impression with both games, and what is your opinion also on the price? Because we got that one. Dead Space will be $70 on console and $60 on PC. So so let us hear your opinion.
Oh man. God, where do I even jump into that, right? Like, I already saw people freaking out about the $60 price point on PC, even because so many folks there had been used to like the $50 price point for so long. The $70 price point, obviously, it's a triggering one for some folks. I mean, I still go back to the idea of like, okay, if you don't think it's going to be worth your money, vote with your wallet. And hopefully, eventually, these companies will see some of that effect. Also, I mean, we're getting ready to go in the holidays. Realistically, you will find these games on sale fairly quick at Black Friday deals, all the stuff that's coming up. Like, games are going to go down in price. I feel like the $70 price point is going to be something where if it doesn't hit fast, I bet you we're going to start seeing sales faster on the games. So, yeah, you can charge us $70, but if you're not moving as many units, then okay, you're going to learn that people will not just tolerate that crap. Not every ecosystem is willing to just take the L for the plastic console manufacturer and be like, hey, I'll totally pay $70 for your product. No problem, bro. I got this. I got your back. We got this. Sorry, a little tangent on that one. A little salty for that one. But yeah, no, for Dead Space, I'm super stoked. It looks really good. Like Crazy said though, especially with what we just saw with Callisto recently.
Yeah.
My God. Like I'm super stoked about Dead Space, but Callisto Protocol, that new trailer put a grin on my face and probably a few jaw drops too.
Yeah. Especially since the monsters look like the Thing. That's what has me excited.
It looks good.
And Scorn will be rad.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that bums me out with that is that, like, well, actually, I guess it's a positive, right? Because originally I was like, okay, it'll be out right after I come back from vacation. But now it's actually going to come out right as I'm in the middle of vacation, so I'm a little spiteful there. But maybe it's a good thing, because maybe, there's an update that hits by the time I get to the game.
Yeah.
And it'll be patched, and it'll be nice by the time I get to it.
All right. Okay, well, we're going to stay in the $70, but before that, Crazy, you haven't shout out our chat. What's wrong? Are you forgetting things again?
No, I did not. I'm not forgetting things. The thing is, if you continue on with the show, you got to say, Louis, shout out to the chat, Shout out to the chat. Let me shout out to the chat real quick, and let us start with the Fifth Horseman. Hello, brother. Y no será mi hermano de Puerto Rico, el nene. ¿Cómo tú estás, mi hermano? Hello, Decado Jesús Ramos. ¿Cómo estás, hermano? Bienvenido to Xbox International. Hello, General C. Man, General C, thank you for that recommendation on Cyberpunk. And everybody who's been recommending it, man, really fun. Let's keep on going down. Talos, the man with the ray. What's up, my brother? Oh, man, let's keep on going down the list. Going down. Hello, Mr. Dark. How are you doing, sir? Hope everything's fine with you. Wandering Dutch. Hello, Dutch. Hope you're doing awesome and fantastic. Mi hermano República Dominicana, 20 clic. Espero que te esté bien, mi querido hermano. Manasso, Mr. Grasso. Hello, 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 dear brother. Hope you're doing awesome. And I hope you went through the hurricane. All nice and cool, man. Seriously. Happy to see you here with us. Let's keep on going down the list. Who else is here? Ooh, Mr. Bushido, the man with the blade. What's up, my brother, Mr. Bushido? I'll be joining you later on tonight at 9 p.m., man. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, especially with Brisket. Man, let's keep on going. Yes, yes, yes. Have I said hi to everybody? I guess I did. Keep on going down the list. Yeah, I guess I said hi to everybody, right?
All right.
Did I?
If
Yeah.
you miss anyone, please excuse him because you know how he
Yes.
is.
Yeah, I
He
tend to
forgets
forget
everything.
things. Yep, yep. Especially the name of a show. Oh, it's Timmy! What's up, Timmy? Happy to see you here with us, brother. Oh man.
Oh man. Well, let's continue with the $70 game. For everyone, please, remain seated on the flight. We are going to get to the Jim Ryan interview, so don't worry, you will have that. But anyway, let's speaking of Jim Ryan and PlayStation, and everything, they seem to have set a standard because we have the era of the $70. Silent already kind of talked a little bit about that, and these are some of the games we have already announced. We got Fall 22. We already got Gotham Knight, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. We got God of War Ragnarok. We got the Callisto Protocol. And then for winter 2023, we got Forspoken, we got Dead Island 2, we got Hard Work Legacy, we got Wild Hearts, which I talked about, watch the trailer. We got Skull and Bones. We have Dead Space itself, which on console is going to be $70. So this seems to be a trend. Since Sign already talked a little bit about that. Crazy, what do you think about this trend that's going on now with the $70 games? Are you concerned that this will be the future? What do you think about this?
Oh man. Yeah. Am I concerned about this? I'm gonna say something though. It's been like 2 years since they talked about raising the price on to $70. I think it was 2 years ago that we're talking about it in 2020. And it was gonna happen sooner or later. I think the last price rise, when was it? Was it 2006? Was it? I think it was because I went searching for a while back. I think it was in 2006, the last time they raised the price, on video games. So if they're gonna make it 10 more bucks, yeah, okay, they can make it 10 more bucks, but they gotta give me those 10 bucks worth of gaming. I mean, I gotta see it that if I'm gonna pay 70 bucks, I'm paying 70 bucks. I don't want, you know what I mean, right? I don't want like a game like to look like, no. Yeah, I'm paying 70 bucks. I want it to look good. I don't want it, with bugs or crashing or doing all that crazy stuff. I understand that there's gonna be the problems. Yeah, it's cool, but I just want it to be cool. If I'm gonna pay my 70 bucks, give me a good 70 bucks game so I don't cry about it. That's my point. But other than that, it was gonna happen though. I mean, the last price rise, like I said, it was a long time ago. So yeah, what can I say about that? Yeah.
Crazy.
What's up?
What if, and this is a big what if, okay?
What's up?
But what if I offered you a game that had come out back on PS3? And yes, it had a release on PS4 as well. But what if I could offer you a remastered version? Bump up those pixels for you,
not a
but on
remastered.
your PS5.
You're saying
okay, charge you $70, sir.
You're talking about the famous remastered, remake, remastered. That's what I call it. Yep, the famous remastered, remake, remastered. I will be pissed.
This is just a concept conversation. This isn't.
I know. I will be pissed. You know why? Because here's the thing. I'm not gonna complain about it because they gave me a game, right? And they're charging me $70. When back in 2012 or 2013, when that game released, it actually had multiplayer.
What if? And again, this is a big what if, crazy. But
yes,
what if I said to you that you could be a proud owner of that multiplayer on a separate disc,
Also
for an
for
additional cost.
also $70. Oh
Oh
Lord.
man, I was gonna say a bad. I was gonna say a bad word, but I'm gonna hold it off because I was gonna say it in
It's
Spanish.
yeah, it's better to
Yeah, I'm gonna hold it off because it says "su maldi." That's how I'm gonna say.
But-
That's it. I was just gonna leave it there. But yes,
would that excite you?
no, it wouldn't. I would be
Okay.
pissed off because that's just wrong. That's just wrong. Like I said, you better give me what I'm paying for $70, not give me like a remastered. And not only that, you're giving me without multiplayer, which back in the day had multiplayer, and it cost 60.
Yeah.
It cost 60. And then you got the what was it? The remastered on 50. And I don't know if it had multiplayer though. I don't remember. But damn. You charging me 70 for just a single player game. Where's my multiplayer where I pay back then 60?
Mr. Bushido in the chat. Where do I buy said games?
Yeah, anyway, like
Oh, man.
jumping into what Crazy said, I kind of agree with him.
Yep.
If you're gonna sell me a $70 game, you gotta show me why the price hike. You gotta bring
Yep.
me, especially now. There's a new generation, so you
Yeah.
should show me a game that does something that no other game could actually could have done on the older console. You also got to take into consideration. I mean, most of the companies that are doing this are actually big companies, and they make a lot of money, and they have to consider that us as customer, there's problems around the world right now where like it's hard for a lot of people, and then you're gonna bump the prices up to provide us the same kind of games, and not even that, like the games that are coming out, a lot of these games are coming out with bugs. So why are you charging me $10 extra? Crazy, I think you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I was gonna ask something, and that is it just went my mind because you were talking about it. But yeah, what I was gonna say is keep going. Let me just get back to it.
While you're
Yeah.
doing that, I did
Yeah.
want to throw something in real quick.
Throw
I
it
was
in,
going
throw
to
it
throw
in.
in the chat, but gentlemen, imagine a world where Cyberpunk 2077 had released at $70.
Oh,
Broken mess.
Oh,
now, oh Lord, now it came back to me. What I was gonna say is like for example, when the generation started, everybody started charging $70. Not everybody, but let's say 2K was the one I think who began with it. Then came on PlayStation with that idea, and pretty much a lot of people grabbed into it. And we all knew that sooner or later it was going to happen because everybody's going to jump into that. But here's the thing, though, you were still working with the old engine. Of course, it looks good, but you were still working with the old engine. And now you charge me $70. Like for example, Unreal Engine, when did it come out? Was it April? Was it Sourblow? Unreal Engine 5? It was April, March of this year, right? Did it come out?
well, officially, but I don't remember
Officially.
the day, but
Yeah, no,
it's
we had like 4.5, 4.0, 4.3. That was Unreal something, Unreal 4.3, 4.5, something like that, to make the games, look for the Series X and for the PS5. But either way, though, they were still old engines, and they were charging you $70. That is insane. Now I can partly accept it, but like I said, you better give me something that I can say, hey, I'm proud to pay these $70. No.
Yeah, the
That's my
the
point.
problem I have is also it's the games. Like for example, you have games, and not to throw shade to the competition because I
Yeah.
like a lot of their games, but for example, they were trying to sell Destruction All Star for $70, and that clearly is a game that it's not worth that
Yeah.
dollar, and they made the decision in time because they saw people
Nice.
reaction. You also have, for example, the Ratchet and Clank. It looks amazing and everything, but the previous Ratchet and Clank released that I think it was like $30 or something like that. So
No, 60.
60 or 60? Okay.
60.
I thought it was $30. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong.
60. Yeah.
But anyway, it's still not a game that really like tells you like, wow, this is something that it's mind blowing, and it's worth more money because they spent more money. They're
The-
not showing me that.
The famous SSD thing.
Oh,
Oh man,
oh yes.
that
Yeah.
got debunked.
can-
What?
I did not say that. Don't listen to me. I did not
But
say that.
I'm gonna throw it to silent. But I'm gonna throw real quick a different question and a different topic actually. Something that staying on PlayStation. They announced their PlayStation Star earlier this year, and which now was discovered that they have been offering their customer service. I would say benefits depending on what tier of reward you're in. So this is the quote I have. I guess it's from a customer maybe. Let me see. Let me read it. It says when contacting a PlayStation customer support, you will be given the priority in the chat order. It says a description for a level 4 tier perk, which requires you to buy 4 full price games from the PlayStation store to earn 128 rare trophies. Tiers 4 appears to be the highest level of tiers in the loyalty program. Given that the official Star site says there are only 4 total. I believe you have worked customer service, Brian. Do you think what do you think about this implementation where like depending on your tier you get better customer service or what do you think of this as a whole?
Okay, so, oh man, all right, give me a moment because this will be a little bit of a fan.
Try not to laugh. Sorry.
I didn't even know how to
Try
pitch
not to
that.
laugh.
Like I'm like
Here's
this is mind blowing.
here's my thing. And so yes, yeah, I did work in customer service for years and years and years. I will say a couple things right off the bat. One, I'm kicking myself at this point because I feel like I failed myself as I was growing up in sales. Because man, if I could have hoodwinked people out of money when I was working at the video game store to give them higher prioritization on the customer service that I was offering, I probably would have been in a different job field than I am now. I might have made some pretty sweet cash on the side early on. I that being said, and I will give them the fact that they aren't the only ones that
Yeah.
pull this type of crap.
Yes.
Because you look
I
at
was
someone
gonna
like
say.
Best Buy, and Best Buy does it. Best Buy does it. You spend last time I checked, it was 1,000 if I remember correctly. If you spend 1,000, you shift to the elite tier, which allowed you to have a longer return window on your products, along with some other features as well. So it's not unheard of, but that doesn't make it less scummy. And I'm sorry, but that is very much what it is in a scenario like this. I get trying to incentivize people to buy your products, stuff like that. This is not the way you do that.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, like this is gross. And I'm not saying that again, I'm not saying they're the only ones that do it. Best Buy does it, and I don't think that that's a good look either. The optics for it are not good. Telling me that you're going to prioritize someone else faster than me because I bought more games in your ecosystem. What if I'm a parent that has a job where I can't afford all the games all the time for little Timmy? And you're going to tell me when my system craps out on me because of your shoddy workmanship that I'm going to be stuck on the phone longer waiting for a customer service representative that already doesn't want to deal with me?
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that I'm going to wait longer for that?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
So that means that my PlayStation 5s right now, and since I don't buy a lot of games on PlayStation, they're gonna maybe last 2 days on the telephone. I gotta call and leave it open.
They're
Like
going to
back in
give
the day.
it. They're going to get to a point where they're going to give you an option where they'll be like, if you'd like a callback in 3 hours and
Whereas
40
in 45,
minutes
yeah.
when a rep is available, please press star now.
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Sour, what's your thought on it? Because I think I'm again very much the grouchy old man about it, but maybe you can show me that I'm not the only one that's surly for this one.
Okay, I'm gonna actually try to be in the middle of this, and Dark in the chat actually brought a great point. He has also customer service experience. I myself worked in some call centers, and I gotta say, the problem with this, like he said, it's not that you have certain perks for, let's say, your higher tier customers, but you also have to treat your free customers with the same respect, the same way. So the the one thing that PlayStation doesn't have is that great customer service reputation. So adding to this, it doesn't really makes them look good, and especially with all the the information that has been coming out about them this generation. Honestly, they seem like they're pretty greedy, and they're doing a lot of moves that does not benefit us, the customer. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't know if Crazy wants to add something before we move on, because I really want to get into my best friend interview.
Oh
Before
man.
before he dives into it real quick, I just want to say one more salty thing, and then Crazy,
Ooh.
you go nuts.
Go. Oh
But
no.
ladies and gentlemen, customer service, it's for the payers, not the
Oh dear.
players.
Not the exactly. Oh dear Lord. Oh, it's just been what's it called? It's been back to back, stuff on Sony, stuff on Sony. I mean, this week we also got a PS5 jailbreak. Oh man, we have been getting a lot of back to back stuff on Sony. And after I at the beginning when I heard this, I was like, I saw this on Twitter. I was like, what the heck is going on? I basically did not understand what the heck was going on. And then I sit down and I read it. I'm like, what? So basically, I buy your console, right? I'll tell you something though. I live in Dominican Republic. Consoles here are not $500.
Right.
Consoles here are $1,000. No matter where I go, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
That's the price in Dominican Republic. So I literally spent $1,000 on your console, right? I better get a good customer service. Seriously, I better get a good customer service because I mean seriously, wait there for the call. 3 hours because hey man,
You should have talked with
why?
me. I'll hook you up with my friend.
No, you'll hook up with a friend, man. I was not gonna say what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna try to hold my mouth. But yes, I mean, when I heard that, I was just like, you talking about it, and I was trying to hold my breath not to laugh because I laugh at all these crazy ideas these people come up with. Why are you coming up with these ideas? You gotta treat people with respect. I mean, seriously, people buy your product and they're trying to enjoy it. Now they have a problem. You can't say, "Oh, because you're not tier 4, I'm not gonna send you." What? That's insane. Oh, and they also have like a new tier 5, which you get invited. You'll probably be like the gods in PlayStation once they invite you to that tier 5. It's like I'm going to what's that club that Disney has, the private club? I forgot.
Oh, are you? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, one of those like yeah, it's like in a bank. You got your credit card, you got the simple credit card, then you got the maximum credit card. And when you go in the bank, you're like, hey, look who's this guy, the man with the big credit card. Yeah. Seriously, you gotta treat your people equal, especially if they're buying your product. That's an honest thing though. That's just wrong. That's just wrong.
So,
That's
so yeah,
I,
Sour.
I guess that's the quick news. Let's go with our captain for the main topics, which kind of related in a way.
Yes, yeah. So along similar topics, right? So okay. Well, so Jim Ryan ended up flying on the XBI private jet. I wasn't sure if we were going to announce it here, but we did get to see our man Jim Ryan, and he was trying to stop the ActiBliz deal. According to deal reporter sources, paywalled, the Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO personally visited the EU headquarters on September 8th to voice the console rivals' concerns over the proposed $68.7 billion deal. Sour, I think you actually have some footage of our
Oh,
friend Jim.
Yeah, so right after he came back, I hooked up with him. We were gaming, and I got a special interview with him. Let me transition to it right now.
Get me on podcast.
Now, we would like to open the floor for questions. I would like to ask you to limit your question to
Howard.
maximum
Yes.
2 questions.
Yes, get me.
If you have
Okay,
any
now
question, please press asterisk followed
Guys
by
might have
number
a
1.
delay, but- Thank you so much, Jim Ryan, for taking the time to join us in Xbox International. We are truly honored to have you here, sir. I know you're a really busy person,
Hold on, not on. speaker.
especially now with the whole acquisition. But tell me, Jim, what can you tell us about this acquisition? And have you really talked to the European Commission? Oh, I froze.
Commissioners, in all honesty, I don't think that this should go through.
Howard,
I think
what'd
it's
you do to poor Jim?
absolutely ridiculous that other people think that they can compete with us. I feel like I don't understand the reason as to why the competition feels like they get to have a leg up on us like this. And so I talked to my friends there and my colleagues, and I told them, we can't let this be. You are British, you are PlayStation supporters, and I thought about it long and hard, and I think we got them sorted out. I think they're going to make the right decision when it comes down to it at the end of the day. But I think that's a concern for us as Sony is people don't understand their place, and so we have to remind them that they can't just come in and steal our negotiations and our bargaining chips. They have to respect us because we're Sony.
What is it that you like? All right, I don't know if it repeated itself, so I kind of transition out. But there you have it from my best friend. He's the best, man. Jim Ryan, man. He's giving me PC games. I'm so happy with him. So take it away, Captain. I saw you pretty excited there.
I'm very excited. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim, for your feedback on this.
Oh dear Lord.
He answered a lot of our questions.
Yeah, he did. He did. In a roundabout way. I feel like he got there, right? So obviously with all this, some of the conversation, right, is like, is this? I guess we'll jump into some of the question, like just right off the bat, right? But like, Sour, do you think this deal is actually like more of a problem to Sony than we believe? Like, we've seen a lot of surface stuff. Obviously, we've seen Jim out there preaching to the folks. We've seen CMA. We've seen all these folks trying to go against it, trying to halt the progress. Do you think it's actually a bigger problem than we actually think it is?
Well, after talking with Jim Ryan privately, I think, no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah, I definitely think, it is a big problem for them. And I believe it's a bigger problem than I initially thought about it, because the way they're going about it, they're basically throwing themselves on, below, like they're basically begging for this deal not to go through, and they're also like Jim Ryan and I guess it's not only him, because it can't only be him. They're basically telling their developers that they can't do what Call of Duty developers can do. They're not as great, and what is like I have said it before, like what is the moral of the PlayStation Studio after Jim Ryan coming out with all these statements? I have no problem with them actually not wanting this deal to go through, because if you put yourself on the business side and you forget about the customer, if I were them, I would probably not want this deal to go through because I know how huge this deal could be. But at the same time, like as a company CEO, do I want to throw my employees like through the ground, telling them that they're not worth it, that they're not good enough? I think that's not a good image right there. So I don't know. Let's see, but apparently it's very scary for them because they've been doing things that I never seen before. Like I never seen nothing like that. And then we have Nintendo. Nintendo's out there just chilling, drinking some pina colada. Like they don't care what's going on. They're like, we don't care about Call of Duty. What we got this game coming out. We got this other game coming out. We got Pokemon. We got this. They're just ramping their games out and not caring about what Xbox does, what PlayStation does, what Tencent does. They don't care about anyone else. So I don't know. I think I said it at the beginning of the generation. I think PlayStation got caught off guard and they wasn't expecting this Xbox that according to a lot of people they're not competing, but it seems somehow they are competing because it's the PlayStation is pretty scared. They wasn't expecting this competition, so I think that they need to come up with a nice game plan. They need to do what 343 should do, like sit back, come with a nice roadmap, nice game plan, and try to come back strong. That's what I think they should do. Maybe they are doing it now, and maybe they're just trying to stall for time because I don't think anyone in their right mind thinks that this deal is not gonna go through. I think everyone believes this deal is gonna go through, even themselves. But maybe they're just buying time. That's what I think.
So, I'm gonna mention a couple things with that real quick, and then we're gonna bounce over to Crazy and kind of get his thoughts on some of this stuff as well. But yeah. So in regards to what you were talking about with Call of Duty, yeah, like Nintendo bounced off of that. I think back around what was it, Call of Duty 3 or some of the other ones, right around like the Wii U time frame. And at that point, it was kind of understood, like, yeah, okay, these aren't going to be here. Nintendo, love them or hate them, for better or for worse, they are an ecosystem that just manages to survive. It's like it doesn't matter whether you like them or not. Like, I'm not a big fan, but they have a big enough following and they have a mainstream enough following that they've managed to kind of make themselves like basically like recession proof or sales proof in certain ways, right? Like they're just able to survive and thrive as time goes on. And yeah, you were talking about competition, of which all I could think while you were saying that was like, you know what? God, Satya just put it the best way ever, right? It's like, want competition? Let's have competition. Let us have competition.
I don't think they want competition. That's a problem.
No, and I agree with what Mr. Dark said in the chat too. Like, Sony is going through their own Xbox One phase, and they're rebuilding and doing their best to invest potentially and address some of those deficiencies. I think the thing is, right, is just like when Xbox One ended up, stepping on the rake and it smacked him in the face at the beginning of the Xbox One era. It takes time for that shift, right? Like it takes time for the ship to turn around and course correct. And it's a big ship, and it takes a little time for that process. And so, if they are, fingers crossed for, customers in general, if they are seeing this and taking this feedback and understanding they need to course correct, it's gonna take a minute. Like there's a lot of moving parts for these situations, for these processes. There's a lot of negotiations and contracts that have been made. There's a lot of things that have to run their play and run their course before they can fully, shift to maybe a different mindset, different approach.
Yep.
But crazy, kind of alongside the same thing that Sour was kind of talking about, right? Is how you've got all those first party studios. They're sitting here as Sony comes out and basically says like nothing can topple Call of Duty. Like in a scenario like that, when like the heads of your company come out and you've made all these really good games. You've brought out all these star-studded games, which I will give them like yes, again, same thing with Sony. Love them or hate them, they do a really good single player game. They are very good at it. But it kind of feels like a really rough statement to come out there and be like, we can't make anything to Call of Duty level. Like, yes, Call of Duty is a big game on its own, for sure. But they have so much IP, and they also have so much dormant IP, right? How weak do you think Sony looks in a situation like that? And also, what's their top tier studios thinking when they come out there and make a comment like that about them?
Here's the thing. Here's my thoughts on that thing, Silent. Sony has such good studios that can work such good games. I mean, they have Bungie. And if you take Call of Duty and put it next to Bungie, like they pretty much have the same. When you go to PvP mode, it's pretty much the same thing as Call of Duty. The difference is that Destiny, you jump, you got magic powers, you probably jump a lot higher, and a whole bunch of stuff, right? So, world record is back. Did you get the time though? It was like a 45-second run.
Quick.
Time though. Yeah, it was quick.
Impressive.
Yeah. Impressive. Keeps on breaking it.
What are you talking about?
You know what we're talking about. You got the world record on this thing, but anyways, let me keep on going.
Be the next Usain Bolt of XBI.
Yep.
I dropped my camera. That's why.
Yes.
Oh yeah, bro.
Crazy. Continue.
Anyways, they got such good studios to work on it, and not only that, if Microsoft finally acquires Activision Blizz, go to the competition, because here's the thing though, Sony's not thinking clear. I mean, you got EA, and EA has put competition to Call of Duty before. Titanfall competed against Call of Duty. Titanfall is one of the best shooters out there. And also you got Apex Legends, which is actually one of the best. Yeah,
Titanfall 2 is
Titanfall is but I'm telling you, sir, when Titanfall came out, the next year I think Call of Duty came out with the idea of people jumping around walls and doing all that stuff like Titanfall was doing it. High jumps and stuff like that. But yeah, Titanfall, the guys from EA has done a lot of competition in Call of Duty. Then you got Playground Games, which literally gave a ton of competition to them. And then you got Fortnite. Literally, Call of Duty had to do what's it called? A battle royale.
Battle Royale with Warzone.
Yeah, Warzone. And not only that, Bungie made one of the best shooters of all time, which is Halo. So you got a pretty good team there. All you got to do is sit down and make them, like I said, work your SOCOMs, work all your Resistance, bring back Resistance. Instead of making a remastered of Horizon, I do not know why.
Bring back Killzone.
Bring back Killzone.
Bring back Sly Cooper.
Bring back Sly Cooper, but just don't call Killzone the Halo killer, please. Don't call it like that. Just don't call it like that.
But this is
every time.
Oh, sorry.
What?
Keep going.
No, go ahead and say it, Sourblow, because I was going to say, why you shouldn't call games like that? Because every time you call a game a killer or something, they kill themselves. That's what happens.
Okay,
what happened? Okay, go for it.
What I was going to add to what you were saying right now is that I think that a lot of people are saying, they should just bring this, bring that, bring this, bring that. I think they have a serious problem right now, and the problem is that their studios have been pretty focused on, third-person action adventure.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that they cannot produce other type of games, but they've been so focused on that I think they are right now just trying to play it a little bit safe. and they don't want to take those risks. And then the other studios that they have purchased, a lot of them are smaller studios or newer studios that they don't have that experience, and I feel like they're gonna experience a lot of the a lot of the things that had happened with Xbox, with Microsoft Xbox when they purchased their original studios like the Compulsion, the other smaller studios where they weren't delivering that much gains because it took them time. Now with this new funding, they have to restructure again. They want to expand. They want to do bigger things, but they also have to learn how to do these bigger things. They have to hire new people that know how to do certain things that maybe they didn't know how to do. And it's a long process. Look at Compulsion. Look at how long it had taken them on the game they're making, and they're still making like hires. I think I saw a hire yesterday they just made, and or at least it was discovered that they did it yesterday, and they seem to be making a pretty big game, but it takes time. They had to grow. They had to structure you know their their company or their studio, and they had to do other things. They had to learn more on Unreal and other things that maybe they were lacking. And I think a lot of these studios like Fire Sprites, the studio that this lady what's her name, the Assassin's Creed lady,
Oh, Jade Raymond.
Jay Raymond, her studio, they're gonna go through a process, and if they just try to rush things, then we're gonna have a broken game, or we're gonna have a game that's not good enough. People don't understand that these games take time.
Would you say, Sour, that as they start to ramp up some of those new IPs, some of those new games, it would be a good idea to hit really hard on like the remasters and remakes for just to train up for it, just so they're ready.
I guess that's coming in between, but I like I said, I think they got caught off guard, and
Yeah.
that's why we haven't seen a lot of things announced. What I think we might see is a lot of them securing, third party games in the meanwhile.
That's what
Until
everybody.
yeah,
That's what everybody's gonna do. Try to secure third-party games because to bring out those first-party games, they got to work really hard.
yeah,
And with the pandemic striking them, it really delayed everybody. Not only PlayStation. I mean, look at Xbox. This year, Xbox didn't come out with anything. They delayed everything till next year. Only Grounded came out this year, wasn't it? Grounded. You got Scorn coming out, but Scorn is Scorn part of the Xbox? No, not yet.
no,
I think not.
No, that one's
Scorn
a
is
third.
a third party there. Yeah.
Third party, yeah. But like I said, they're gonna do that because it's been a big mess from the pandemic, and they had to literally just spread out. They couldn't sit down like they were programmed to, and everybody's such a big mess. Not only that, also on the chip production. I mean, look at the whole chip deal. I mean, the new PS5 I think it came out with the 6MD, wasn't it?
6 nanometer chip.
Yeah,
Sick
yeah.
man.
They even have to switch that because they couldn't make it with the 7. So everybody's been having issues with that, and it's gonna take them a while just to bring that back. To bring that what's that routine back?
Yep.
Because I mean, literally, all of us were at home. To go back to that, like, it's kind of hard. But anyways, to bring back that routine, get adjusted to it's gonna be a little bit hard. But you were saying, Sour, they rush things through, and like for example, Horizon Forbidden West came out, and it came out a little bit buggy. I heard that it was having save problems, and I was like, I'm not gonna play this. I'm gonna put this aside. And I literally had to wait like 2 or 3 months for them to fix the save problems, because I'm a person that has suffered from save problems, and I run away from them. So yeah, it's just sort of, they can't rush things through. It's kind of bad. That's my opinion, though. I mean, you're right about that too, Sour. They can't rush things through. It's just terrible.
So real quick,
Yeah.
Cozy Beluga. Hey,
Hey,
welcome to the show. But also, thank you for the heads up on that. I was totally forgetting about that. So, Cozy brought up that Pentiment is coming out this year as well. which I totally forgot about. So yeah, they
Means-
had Grounded, Pentiment. They have a few things. It's definitely one of the weaker lineups than what we've seen
Yeah.
over some of the years in the past. Granted, the last like handful of years have been pretty light, but you usually have like a Forza or something in there that you could kind of at least throw like a tent pole in there. It's good to see some of those things, but something that I did want to kind of mention, going back to the conversation a little bit, is the fact that like there's been the conversation about Google and some of those ones being like the main competitors, right, to Microsoft on this. Like even Microsoft said it back in the day. They said they came out and they're like, we're not concerned about like Sony and Nintendo as competition. We're concerned about like Google. And what was it at the time? It was Google and Tencent, or Google and
I think
Amazon?
Amazon and maybe Apple too.
Yeah, so they threw a few of them out like that, and I guess it's kind of the perfect time to shift into part of the next topic, which is the fact that Google, who had Google Stadia, another competitor in the cloud market side of things, is dead. Google
literally.
Stadia has kicked the bucket, has left the building. Use whatever phrase you want. Google Stadia is done. Which I think that proposes a very interesting dynamic with this whole situation also, right? Is that originally there was the conversation that like, oh, you've still got so many big companies out there that still are competing against this. It's not a big concern because people like Google and other competition's still out there. Well, we just lost one of the competitors, which changes that dynamic for this situation with the actual acquisition of ActiveBliz, right? It's potentially something that maybe people are going to start to rethink out of the fact that like, okay, well, one of the other cloud competitors that you had previously is no longer there. So now like that pool is smaller now. You've got folks that you've got like Nvidia and some of those that still have some of that streaming, but the cloud service side of things has become Xbox pretty favorably. All of a sudden with just this quick announcement that we ended up getting. So it's one of those things where just with all of the decisions that they made, of which I do find it interesting that when PlayStation started dropping the ball pretty hard, Phil Harrison was there at the time, and then Phil Harrison bounced over to Google side of things and was doing the Stadia thing, and then Google Stadia started to drop. Maybe it's a Phil Harrison curse to an extent, but even folks like Jez Corden in the article that he wrote, he made the comment that the demise was inevitable. You look at a lot of the different things that happened with it. They decided to go with a pricing structure that just didn't match up against the competition. That alone, I think, is something that kind of concerned me. The idea of saying, hey, you're going to pay a monthly fee for this service, but you're also going to pay me $60 for this game. Like stuff like that. We go back to the conversation about $70 games, right? People are going to vote with their wallet if it doesn't seem like it's a good deal to them. If someone doesn't want Dead Island 2 for $70, you better believe Dead Island 2 is not getting bought by a handful of folks until it drops in price. Hopefully people will hold their place on that.
Mhm.
But I think that was definitely one thing that was kind of a concern with Stadia, is the pricing structure, just the general structure of it was concerning a little bit. So going into more detail on it real quick, and then I've got some questions for you lads. But Google ended up killing it off short while after killing practically all of the in-house content creation for the platform also. Despite Google's claims to the contrary, it was probably an easy decision for them to basically get rid of this rarely used streaming service. With the markets as volatile as they are, much larger tech corporations are exploring ways to cut costs, freeze hiring, ultimately saving money. This was one of those things where, obviously it wasn't making them a ton of money. So it popped onto the chopping block pretty quick. Yes, they still had some deals there also, it sounded like, that were kind of there. Because you look at stuff like Ubisoft, Bungie, IO Interactive, some of those actually had titles that they were supporting or in the process of bringing out, that even they've come out and they've confirmed that they're trying to transfer player accounts to other systems, because this kind of caught them off guard as well. This hit all of a sudden, and we're starting to feel the ripples of it. But I think it's unfortunate too, just in the fact that Google had a decent handful of devs and stuff in-house that just got shuttered basically in the process of this. So it's unfortunate. Like, I never want to see a company go all the way down. Like, you listen to me, you hear my thoughts on PlayStation, gentlemen, and everyone in the chat. You can tell, obviously, I'm not a big fan of PlayStation, but at the end of the day, like, the competition's still good for us. If PlayStation does well, if Nintendo does well, Microsoft is going to have to see that. They're going to have to be reactionary on it. And it goes the other way as well. So when you see someone like this who is in the cloud side of things drop out, it's not good. Unfortunately, like, that doesn't help the competition for us as consumers. So I do want that to be known as, like, I'm not celebrating over the fact that something like this happened. A lot of people lost their jobs or got shuttered, I'm sure, in the process. And it sucks. Like, it's a bummer, because Google Stadia could have had some potential. Like, the controller was great. I don't know if you guys ever ended up getting it. There was potential there, just like there was on Live back in the day, right? It could have been a thing. But we're gonna throw it to you this time, Louis. I want your opinion on this. Could this be a problem for the Microsoft ActiBliz deal? Do you think this is actually going to cause a road bump, or a speed bump, as it were, for their deal? Do you think people will reconsider, considering the fact that such a big player dropped out of the market?
It would. Why would it? Because Google was just starting with an idea and it just didn't go through with it. And
Well, it wasn't even necessarily an idea, though, as much as it was an actual product out there.
Actual product, yeah, my bad. Actual product, my bad. They came out with the product recently. It's not even that old. It's probably, what, 2 or 3 years old, and it came out. And yeah, why would that stop it? I mean, I know they tag team with Sony to try to stop it. I was reading about that the other day, that they even tag team with Sony, talking about the whole. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's because I read about it. I think it's a rumor, but let's say they did tag team with them, and they're trying to stop the deal. But why would it stop it? Seriously, Google failed to meet its way, because, like you were saying, it's service. You had to pay for the service, and not only pay for the service, you had to also buy their games at $60, which is madly expensive, right? I mean, you got to pay a monthly fee plus the games. That's insane. Instead of saying, okay, let me put a yearly plan for everybody to pay, good price and all that stuff, so people can get, like, kind of like the Xbox Live, because we all paid the Xbox Live, didn't we? We all paid the Xbox Live Gold all the time.
Yeah.
We paid for it, and we paid $60 a year to play our games online with no issues. And not only that, we also paid we bought our games and we had fun with them. And then comes Microsoft with this service, with this Game Pass service, which literally it's on point that they came out with it. And not only that, they're trying to make it to the xCloud. They're trying to make the xCloud work, which is still in beta. It's in beta in a lot of places around the world. It's still not fully gone out. And Google just went out there and pushed it out. And they did good? No, because, again, it was a little bit expensive. If they would have had a good price and they would have had a good service, then yeah, they would have compete. And for me on my side, I'm sad that they're out though, because competition is always good. I mean, when we sit here and complain about what Sony is doing, what we're complaining about is that they're doing a bad thing, and we want them to do better, because thanks to Sony, this is what we got. Thanks to the reaction that happened last generation, this is what we got now, which is good. I mean, look, Microsoft is entering the competition. You know, they're trying to compete. They're trying to be good. They're trying to, even though they said that Sony was in competition, they did say that. Yeah, I think it was Phil Spencer 2020 literally said, "Hey, these guys are in competition." But yeah, Sony now is trying to go head to toe with them, which is not a good idea, because they should just stick on their side and do their own thing. But that's another discussion. But would it affect it at the end of the day, the deal? No. Why? What would it affect it? Google just jumped in this thing, just jumped into the gaming world. They did not do good. It's not nobody's fault. It just happens. It's just the way they had their just the way they had their setup for the gaming, right? It was just not that good, like Microsoft or Sony, because not only Microsoft was competing against them, also Sony was competing against them. Their service was competing against them, and that's the truth. Everybody who has a service out there is competing against them. But yeah, it won't affect it though. It won't affect it. It won't. That's what my thoughts.
Okay,
sorry. Yeah, I was actually going to pass it to you. So Sour.
Okay, I was gonna jump on that real quick, and I kind of disagree a little bit with you, Crazy.
What's up?
And the reason is, well, before I forget though, Cozy Beluga in the chat actually said, and she or he is right. It's not Stadia is actually free. What's you gotta pay for is the Pro version.
For Stadia Pro. Yes.
Yeah,
Pro. Yeah, sorry, okay. That's a detail that I guess I didn't add.
Yeah,
on there, so that's my apology.
Yes, my apologies too, because I always thought,
So
yeah, so it was $9.99 a month on that one, and they had their launch pass, which they're like, what was it? It was their supporter bundle. It was like $99 initially or something. Came with the controller.
Yeah.
Had some other stuff as well.
Some other stuff.
But yeah, for Pro it was $9.99.
Yeah.
So that's my bad.
And I think the free version, what it gave, maybe I'm wrong, but it gave you access for you to buy the games and play them, on the cloud basically. And the Pro version actually gave you some games, like kind of like as a service. Every so often, I believe they will give you like a free game or something like that. And of course, you also have the option to buy the game, play them in the cloud. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how it worked. But anyway, the reason why I don't 100% agree with Crazy, and I don't think this will stop the deal, but I think it could hurt the deal, and maybe, because the first thing is we got to think about the regulators. The regulators, a lot of them, they probably don't know nothing about game. So they just see things like, they don't see apple oranges. They just see everything is a spear. Like they see everything the same. And Google, if you look at it, in the cloud services, it was basically Microsoft direct competitor. Like it was probably their main competitor in the cloud. If you look at it, they had a great infrastructure. They had other problems with decisions like Silence had, but other than that, they already had. They came out in 2019, and they already was established, and unfortunately, with them being dead, especially at this moment, it doesn't look good, because the problem is, like, what other cloud services are there? Because, like, there's not really, like, there's Luna, and then there's PlayStation, which...
You got Nvidia out there doing cloud. You also, we know that Tencent is going to start doing it too. But there's competition out there.
There's competition, but at the same time, they're not...
But active competition.
Yeah, they're
not upcoming competition.
Yeah, and they're not really like competition, because like Nvidia is cool and all that, but it wasn't like, I don't see it as a big as a competition as Stadia could have been, or as PlayStation Plus could become, or as Luna could become eventually, or maybe even Tencent. But like Silent said, those are other upcoming. And right now, the market, Xbox has the market, and they can be like, we don't want you to become the one and only cloud service company that dominates everything, and because we got to look at things on both sides. We we got to kind of not be biased to one side, and we got to understand that you know
But
at the
here's the
same
thing,
time
though.
it's not sorry at the same time it's not bad for it's bad for us, the players. If Xbox completely dominates everything, and they take control of the cloud and all that, and this does look bad in a way for the purchase, but I don't think it will stop it.
But maybe what maybe let's pitch this idea out there just in case. So let's pitch this idea. What happened? Let's think that Google said, okay, let's take Stadia off, and let's sit down and talk with Sony. Let's partner up with Sony, or let's buy Sony. That could happen though.
It could happen, but you as a regulator, you're not going to be like, oh, what if this happens? No, you
Yeah. Yeah, you're not concerning yourself in a job like that, in a scenario like that. You're not thinking of
yeah.
the hows, whys, and whens that don't exist
Oh
yet.
no,
You're
no.
looking at what the hard facts are now.
Yeah, but I'm just giving you an idea because, like, for example, right now everybody's is trying to stop this deal, right? There's only PlayStation and Google trying to stop this deal. Now we haven't heard from Amazon trying to stop it. We haven't heard
But
Nintendo trying to
but
stop it.
is Google really trying to stop it? Because all I heard was rumors. I didn't actually
Let me check.
see any
Keep on
actual
talking.
and-
Let me look for it real quick.
statement.
And here's the thing that I would throw in there also is like Google doesn't necessarily have to be out there trying to police for this not to happen, as much as Sony could be like, hey, look at this. Google, one of the competitors that we have, one of the competitors that Microsoft even admittedly came out and said is one of our direct competitors, is no longer in this gaming business. They have shuttered the majority of that side of things. So in a situation like that, it doesn't matter if Google's out there as much as we already know that Sony somewhat has the ears of some of these decision makers. If they're out there and they're saying, hey, listen, the competition that they said was competition for them has stepped out.
Yeah.
This is a concern. A massive company like this isn't here to make a gigantic chess move if Microsoft gets out of hand.
Yeah.
Stuff like that can still hold. It can still hold favor. These guys, it seems like.
Another thing they had issues was with the marketing. They didn't have that good much marketing with that too.
They had great marketing once they started fire selling stuff, especially. But their marketing wasn't bad when it started.
Yeah, especially when it started. Like I was actually hyped before they announced the pricing and all that.
I'm saying right here because remember I live here. I didn't see that much about it, and when I got access to the over there the American channels, I didn't see that much commercials on it. I don't know if they had commercials. I saw a lot of Game Pass on it. Game Pass commercials with the cell phones, like Samsung showing you can play Game Pass on cell phones, stuff like that. But I never saw like Google getting that push.
Well, I was gonna say maybe because I've been a PC guy and I was always on top of all PC news, and I when I saw this, I actually thought, I was like, wow, this is gonna be the next big thing in gaming. I was actually sold for this, but then when I saw their whole approach where you had to buy the games and it didn't really resonate with me, and then. I don't know, I felt like, and also, I think they felt big also, like, they had all these projects, like, if you think about it, Amy Hennig, the one that's working now on the Captain America and Black Panther, she was working with them, The girl that opened the studio in Haven, that now she's with PlayStation. I think she had a project with them. Supposedly Kojima had a project with them. We just now learned that Planet Savage 2 was in the work for them.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
and they had many other projects that they were working on, and they completely just dropped everything, and they stopped buying studio. They said they weren't gonna buy studios, they weren't gonna create studios, and we have seen time and time, if you have no studios, that's not a good game plan. That doesn't work.
Yeah. No, that's
Mm. They should have run down and got some third party deals. That's what should have done when
They sh-
before they start buying studios. They should have done what PlayStation has been doing for a long time. You know, getting third party deals while they work on the first party
they should have
games.
bought a publisher because they have the money to
Yeah,
do it. But what happened was that,
yeah, it's
like,
kind of weird.
yeah,
They should have purchased EA though. They should have purchased EA or purchased another thing. I don't know why they did not do that.
because
It's kind of weird.
I honestly think they weren't all in on gaming, just like Amazon.
Nah.
Like, Amazon has the potential to actually compete if they wanted to, but they're just like, oh, we're on gaming, but we're just dipping our toes to see what happens.
right.
If it becomes
They
big, then yeah, but they're not really
they
invested.
both basically did the exact same thing. It feels like where it's granted, Google ended up doing it. They went further into it. They dipped their toes. But I mean, they both did the same thing, right? Of like coming out there and being like, "Hey, we're doing a thing. We're doing a thing. We're going to be there." And
Yep.
then, like again, and I get what you're saying, Crazy, right? Is like obviously, they focused their territory concentration for marketing and advertisement when they were bringing the thing out. And so like Google Stadia, I definitely saw a lot of the advertising and marketing
Yeah.
geared towards our markets. But then to be fair, like shortly after that happened, they dropped off
Yeah,
hard.
they dropped
And
off.
that goes very much to what Sour's saying, is like they were not in it. Like they weren't in it to win it. They were
Yes, sir.
to go to Breaking Bad, right? No
Yeah.
half measures. And that was a
Yeah.
half measure, right? Like they jumped in, but they didn't dive full head in. And if you're not going to dive in on something like that when you have as brisk a competition as folks like Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, all these other companies, you're not going to get anywhere. Like it's just,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fierce competition, especially in this current environment that we're in.
Yeah, especially because like
It's
these company, they're not established in the gaming market. You already have the big three, which is Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. That's what everyone knows. So in order for you to compete with either three of them, like, you have to come in big. Like, Amazon is right there. Like, they have some studios that they have made some pretty good games, but at the pace they're going right now, that's not enough. But they would buy, let's say, like a Ubisoft, for example, that immediately will turn eyeballs, and they'll be like, oh, wait
you
a
know
minute,
you
these
know
guys are
it's
serious.
it's incredible that these companies with all that money they have, they're not going on a shopping spree. Well, everybody's on a shopping spree. I mean,
Yeah.
Tencent has been on a shopping spree, an insane shopping spree. Tencent is freaking aggressive right now. You also got Microsoft buying, you got Sony buying,
Embracer
Netflix
Group.
buying, Embracer Group buying.
Yeah.
I don't understand why these companies are not willing to take that risk, and they should take them. Especially, I mean, I'm one of them that was betting on Google when I first heard about the Stadia. I mean, I was like, man, this looks awesome, and I hope that they keep,
Yeah.
you know, bringing some stuff up with it, because that idea, and I always tell everybody, that's the future of gaming. Literally, the X Cloud, the whole idea of clouding on your, I mean, playing games on your cell phone, playing games on your laptop or anything without having to download the game. That's the
Yeah.
future. That's the future.
Yeah.
And they didn't like focus and put their hearts in it. Man, that's a big waste. Or buy studios, like you were saying, like for example, buy Ubisoft. They had EA out there for them to buy.
Yeah.
They should have bought EA.
They should have
I
bought
would.
EA. And
Yeah, they should have bought
and
EA.
another thing, like, also, like, strategic strategy that they can do.
Yeah.
Like for example, if I was Amazon, like for the first year or two, I would bundle their service with Prime. Like who doesn't have Prime at this time? And
Yeah.
you know how many people will have access to that?
I mean, I'm gonna tell you something though, and this is true. Sean Layden was a free agent for the past how many years? 2 years now. He was free. Sean Layden was free. He wasn't working with Sony. Nobody. I mean, Sean Layden, for example, Sean Layden would land on Google or on Amazon. That would have been a big push right there.
Well,
That
Isn't
would have
he-
that would have helped him a lot.
isn't he the person that didn't believe in cloud?
But here's the thing, though.
Just
Remember,
saying.
he worked with
Yes.
Sony.
But Sour. I know some
Yeah.
folks that didn't believe in generations
Yes.
that recently
Hey,
recently started believing
don't-
in generations.
Generations.
Don't
Yep.
don't talk about. I'm not gonna accept that. Don't talk about my buddy like that. Okay.
Well, we're gonna talk about your buddy because I remember when your buddy said that we believe in generations. I said that buddy of yours is not thinking straight because you got 120 million PS4s out there and you want to just develop for 10 million PS5s. You're a dumb. I'm sorry. Seriously, you should.
Oh,
Yeah, But
I
let's not
I
get
definitely I definitely agree with you guys though. The fact that like they could have pushed harder. They could have gotten
Yeah.
more
So-
deals, more things like
so-
that,
I
just
mean,
to ramp up the competition.
Yeah, you have Sean Layden out there and just grab Sean Layden and put him up there to be the head and help you out. Like, okay, what should we do? Sean would have said, hey, man, why don't we get games in here? Because that's something that Sean Layden did good in the PS4 generation. He did awesome. He, like, for example, Jim took down the Japanese PlayStation Studio, right? He took it down. Sean Layden made him do games. They did pretty good games out there that they didn't sell, like Horizon or what's the name of Horizon? And,
He basically he brought competition.
he brought competition. Sean Layden did a good job, but that's something that Google needs and Amazon needs. But since Google's out of the picture now, but yeah. And now Tencent hired Sean Layden. I was like, man, they hired a mastermind right there. It's gonna get him to get games in there. That's what he's gonna do.
I absolutely agree with Sour that it would have brought competition, right?
Yep. Right away.
And speaking of competition, we're actually going to bounce on to our next topic, which is the fact that Netflix is setting up its own video game studio as it intensifies its efforts to establish itself in the gaming industry. So, based out of Helsinki, Finland, it'll be led by former Zynga and Electronic Arts executive. And no, we're not talking about Don Matrick, so you're okay. Everything's okay. We're talking about Marco Lastica. Netflix has previously purchased small gaming companies such as like Oxenfree developer Night School Studios. But the streaming giant is now going further into creating a studio from scratch. Lastka is an established figure in gaming, having co-founded Zynga Studio, also in Helsinki, which worked on Farmville 3 under his leadership. And then gentleman Amir, the Netflix VP of Game Studios, announced the vision to build a world-class gaming studio in a blog post. So, before I dive into this, I just want to say real quick, I'm really, really sad that they picked up Oxenfree, Night School Studios.
Yeah.
I
like them.
Just because I don't know. Maybe we'll still see Oxenfree 2 on Xbox at some point, but that made me sad. But anyways, in regards to that blog post, which we'll dive into real quick, but Sour,
Yes.
for you, with the subscriber base that Netflix already has, is that user base a possible advantage to Netflix in the cloud gaming market? Do you think they'd be able to leverage their current customer base? Do you think there's enough gamers in that customer base that they could actually wedge their way into the cloud gaming market and actually provide some competition to someone like Microsoft?
All right. Well, first of all, well, what can I like? I think it's a tricky question because in a way for me, because I think it all depends how they structure their game plan, how they structure everything, and what's really their game plan. Like, are they going all in like to compete with the big ones in gaming, or are they looking for an alternative, or what is their approach? Are they just gonna bring like little mobile games or little indie games? If I think the best approach for them would be becoming an alternative. And what I mean about this is, maybe you can't compete with Sony, you can't compete with Xbox, you can't compete with Nintendo, but since you already have that infrastructure of movies and TV series, there are games that are interactive games, and I think those will be perfect games for you to add, in the service of Netflix. And maybe you can even tweak it where you can even play it with your remote control, and you don't even need, your own, like, you don't need to buy a control or anything like that. And I think there is a market to that, and maybe as you see that market grow, then you start taking other risks on other areas, because you know Netflix, even though they are a pretty big company, but they also have some other problems which you wouldn't want. I mean, if I were them, I wouldn't want to invest all this money on something I probably don't know how to handle it yet that much. And then you have two problems instead of one. But I think if they take that approach with interactive games, which are kind of like movies, you know, and maybe you try to get studios like what's the studio name? The one that makes Dark and Tonally. Wait,
Oh, dark anthologies.
yeah,
Dark picture anthologies. I'm
yeah.
getting the name for that.
Maybe they were purchased recently. I don't know, but if the chat can help me. But anyway, those type of games will fit perfectly. Dustfall games like that.
Super massive games, you mean? Developer?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I think
Yes,
so.
Super massive
Yeah.
games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, those type of
Yes.
games will fit perfectly for a Netflix subscription service.
Hmm.
I agree with that
That-
fully,
that's
because
my
I definitely think, like
You-
that.
you-
We've seen it with the TV series and stuff like that, right? And the fact that those TV series coming in doing episodic and stuff like that, that's worked out really well for movies and stuff.
yeah.
Jump into that in like a gaming side of
Te-
things.
Get Telltale. That's another one that does pretty
Yes.
good
yes,
story.
Yeah.
yes.
Telltale.
Yeah, and especially now that it seems like maybe they've been able to start kind of like
Yep.
rebuilding themselves after all the stuff that happened, the closure and all that stuff that occurred with Telltale. It was good timing actually, Sour, that you ended up asking the comment of like, what type of games are they going to create, right? Because according to the blog post, they stated that it will bring a variety of delightful and deeply engaging original games with no ads and no in-app purchases. I get a little bit skeptical when I see delightful and deeply engaging original games. Just something about it just makes me a little nervous. But going back to the advantage of their current subscriber base, right? And then I'm gonna pass it to you, Crazy. But in April, Netflix announced they had lost 200,000 subscribers. Its first quarter loss since 2011, right? So this thing had just been ramping up over and over and over again for years. The share price had dropped by about 35%, wiping out more than $50 billion of the firm's market value, right? And then it goes to talk a little bit more. Netflix then also lost 1 million subscribers between April and July of 2022, the biggest in its history. Though it still still has more than 220 million subscribers worldwide. So the question I want to ask you on that is with some of these concerns. Obviously, 220 million is a big number. It's a sizable number. That still goes back to the idea of like how many of those people are actually gamers? Like what's the percentage that you're actually looking at on that market? Who would actually how many of those people would be engaged into those games that are offered through this? So I just kind of want your opinion. There will be two questions for you, and I'll make them easy for you. But do you think with the losses that they're announcing and stuff, right? Do you think that that's actually still going to work out in their favor, or do you think they're possibly going to start shuttering some of those teams and stuff? Like if things continue to decline, even though they do have such a big install base, do you think they'll start shuttering services and we'll see another thing like Google where they just shuttered Stadia and called it a day? Or do you think they'll actually double down?
The first thing with Netflix, they got the biggest issue is their pricing. They keep every single year just putting up the price, putting up the price, putting up the price, and putting up the price. That's what they keep on doing every single year. They keep raising that price bar. Not only that, now if somebody's logged into a different IP, in some other place around where you live, and let's say since I'm in Dominican, right, and my father's logged into my Netflix account, I gotta pay $3 extra. So Netflix has kind of gotten a little bit greedy on their services thing. I think that's what's affecting them. That's part of the effect that they've been having, that they've been losing subscribers. And not only that, you also got Disney Plus doing pretty good competition to them with content and all that stuff. I mean, look at what Disney's doing. Disney's kicking butt. And you got Paramount, you got HBO, you got a whole bunch of competition. This is why competition is good. You know, Google died. Like I said, it literally made me sad because I didn't want it to die. But yeah, it died, and we need this competition out there, and that's probably why Netflix has been having all these issues. And on the gaming side, I don't know, Sourblow, have you played games on Netflix? Because I haven't played games here in Dominican Republic. Have you played it though?
Nah, not interested.
You're not interested though. That's another thing though. I never got into it. See if there's gaming, in Netflix. I haven't seen it though. But I don't know if it's out there. Is Netflix out there with gaming already that you can log in to play games? Because here I don't have it though. I don't have that option. Sour, ask your question.
Oh, what was the question?
That since I'm here in Dominican, I don't have that access to gaming. Is Netflix gaming already working over there in the States?
I'm not getting your question. Like, do you mean the cloud?
He's asking if you're able to actually jump in and like start playing some of those games and stuff through Netflix.
Oh no, like I told you, I haven't tried Netflix gaming, or not even interested in that. I usually jump to Netflix when I hear, okay, there's a good series, or when my wife wants to watch something, I jump around.
Yeah, I was telling Sour that what's been affecting Netflix is on is not the whole gaming thing. It's all about the subscriber base. How they keep raising the price and how their
price increases.
Yes, constant price increasing. Like I was telling that here in Dominican, my father lives like a couple miles away from me, and he uses my Netflix, and I gotta pay $3 extra from that instead of them saying, "Hey, let's have a family plan. Pay $20, and everybody can hook up," stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, that's something I complained, a couple weeks ago when I saw on my on my TV, "Hey, you gotta pay $3." Like what? I
remember. Yeah, you were not thrilled.
I'm not thrilled. Hell no.
You were throwing an adult-sized fit on that one. And I get it. I get it.
And that's their issue. Not only that, their content. I mean, I in a while, this month, for example, they released 2 good things this month. I mean, you had Cobra Kai and Dahmer. That was the 2 big things. But yeah, That's the thing with
and
Netflix.
and both of them were really good. But yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. And you look at an example like Stranger Things, right?
Yeah.
As it continues to get bigger, they continue to invest more and more money into that specific series. And as that's going on, it feels like I don't know if it's just that some of their IP or like some of their new deals and stuff are just starting to dry up. But you look at something like that, and like Stranger Things got a ton of support, a ton of money dumped into it. But that was like the only thing that launched at that point in time. And there's, you're starting to see a trend with that. And I don't know if that's necessarily just because of like some of those losses they're starting to see with subscribers and stuff, if they're trying to focus just on those ones that they know are hits. I mean, you look at Cobra Kai, obviously it's been a big hit for them and it continues to be. Same with Stranger Things. So maybe they're, instead of diversifying the portfolios, right, and like starting to broaden out their reach, it feels like they're kind of narrowing their focus.
Yeah.
Which I think that's the thing that makes me nervous. My personal opinion is I'm just kind of nervous about the idea of them jumping into the game side of things, because I just feel like at this point in time they're narrowing their focus more than they're actually broadening it. And if that's the case, I feel like you're running into another Google Stadia scenario where like they support it hard when it starts and then they taper off because they see the return on investment, the ROI isn't to their liking, right?
Yeah.
So that definitely has me nervous. Real quick though, I I did want to say, because I was thinking about it for a moment. I don't think Oxenfree 2 is actually stuck in the Netflix realm necessarily, though, because I remembered that they actually brought out that Stranger Things game, multi-plat. So, and granted, Oxenfree was on what, Switch, I think, and PlayStation before they bought the studio, Night School.
I think so.
Maybe we'll still see it on Xbox. But that's just my, that's just my hope, my personal hope. But speaking of folks trying to get into the industry, we also saw that Saudi Arabia says that it's planning on spending $13 billion to acquire a leading game publisher. Sorry, quotes, a leading game publisher. So Saudi Arabia will invest a further $37.8 billion in the games industry acquisitions, including around $13 billion to acquire this leading game publisher, according to state news. In a quote, they stated that we are harnessing the untapped potential across the esports and games sector to diversify our economy, drive innovation in the sector, and further scale the entertainment and esports competition offerings across the kingdom, stated by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Which, my goodness, where do you go from that? Like the fact that they're dipping their toes, and not even dipping their toes, but doing a cannonball in the public pool. Sour, what do you think Saudi Arabia sees in the gaming market, being that they're willing to invest this type of money?
I think that's kind of scary because it's like, if you think about it, it's not a company; it's like the country. Like,
Yeah.
So you're like, what are they planning with this? Like, but who knows? Like, it's interesting. I want to see what is their game plan. Hopefully, it's something good for us, the user, and not something bad. Which unfortunately, I'm kind of leaning more into the bad side. But let's see.
Get you nervous in some of those situations. I mean, you look at something like Embracer, where obviously like the countryside of things is actually involved as part of that business. I think it's even, what was it, CD Project Red, one of the ones also that has some connections to like the government or something in the company. there's like backing of some sort. I can't remember if it was just Embracer that had some of that, but it just always makes you nervous, right? When like get external external ideas and external pressure from folks. Like that'd be cool if they had their own game devs that were just going to do this stuff on their own. But this feels like it's not just a game dev studio. It's like, hey, they are going to have this be a thing. Crazy. Crazy. I'm curious about your take on this. What do you think about Saudi Arabia investing this type of cash and getting more into the game industry side of things?
Happy about it, because that means more competition. That's what I'm happy about. I don't get nervous about it. I'm just happy that they're jumping into it and that a lot of people are jumping to it and considering gaming to be an important thing. So yes, the more competition we have, the better it's going to be for all of us. We don't want just one company to rule all over the world. No. We want several companies to be something, fighting each other. That's what we want. Putting their boxing gloves on. That's what we want.
But
So yeah, I'm not worried about it.
that was nice, short and sweet. Would you get nervous if Tencent also reportedly stated that they were aggressively seeking full game company acquisitions?
That's the one that people get worried about. But I'll be honest with you, I'm happy that they announced it, because this is something that we have talked about in a long time, on how Tencent is secretly, kind of quietly been like being like a little mouse, like nipping the cheese little by little and just grabbing little by little, just to get full. And now they're like, okay, you know what? Let's get to it and let's get rough. Now they're jumping to it. And that's pretty amazing that they have decided to say, hey, we're going to get aggressive in this thing. And that's going to open eyes with everyone. And not only that, we saw the graph the other day. They were first place. They were above Sony. I mean, you can combine Sony and Microsoft together and they still won't reach the numbers that Tencent has.
So just to put it into perspective for folks, right? Tencent, which is the world's biggest video games company by revenue, has already invested more than 800 companies.
Mm-hmm.
That includes a 40% stake in Epic Games and holds shares in ActiBliz, Ubisoft, PUBG Studios, parent company Krafton, Platinum Games, From Software. You've got Marvelous Inc. Like these guys mean business.
Yeah,
I
XBI.
think Saudi Arabia jumping in is scary, but this one still, it's like Crazy said, is like they nibbled a little bit off here, a little bit there. I forget what movie it was I went to in theaters, but I remembered seeing the Tencent Pictures splash logo before the movie, and I was like, oh my god. Oh, this is happening. Like it's no joke. These guys are everywhere.
They're everywhere.
However, that being said, Tencent has made fewer full acquisitions.
You want me to mention one of the big ones? Can I mention one of the big ones? Top Gun Maverick. They have invested in.
Actually, you know what? That was the film that I saw. That was the film I saw that had it. Come to think of it, my God, yeah. Yep. Yeah. So currently it owns 100% of developers such as Funcom, Riot Games, Sumo, Turtle Rock, Digital Extremes, and Splash Damage. So according to Reuters sources, the tech giant is now aggressively seeking to own majority or controlling stakes in overseas targets. Something about targets in this situation just gets me very uneasy. Overseas in targets, notably in Europe, is what is stated. Tencent told Reuters the company had been investing abroad for a long time, long before any new regulations in China. It looks for innovative companies with talent management teams and gives them room to grow independently.
Yes, sir.
Nervously, I'll go ahead and just smile and say, okay, hopefully, yes, that is how things continue. But Sour,
Yes.
Tencent is the company, the top company in revenue on the gaming market. How do they become like PlayStation or Nintendo or Xbox in terms of popularity? What do you think they would have to do that? Do you think any other company besides them could actually achieve that? I mean, we know they've got the money, but do you think that they could, dislodge someone like a Sony or Nintendo on the ratings board or on the sales boards and be like, "Hey, we're the guys. Like, we're that one that you should be fearing."
Yeah, well, it all comes down to, at the end of the day, the games. If you can deliver great games, you will start to be known. And I think they like I don't remember the name of the game, but they're making this game that looks pretty similar to one of the game showcase on the last Sony showcase. It wasn't. I think it was Ronin, something like that. The game that they showed.
Oh, Ronin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I got you.
They have a game that looks similar to that, and that game looks pretty good. Yeah, they're building with their own engine. They have their own engine, and the game looks amazing. I forgot the name of it. And if they start building games like that, and start, they own a lot of companies and they own stakes in a lot of company. So eventually, with all these games and like you said, they're investing in movies and other places. I mean, if they make deals and get these known IPs, such as like Top Flight, into game, and they make games that actually resonate with the fans. Sure, it's gonna take time, but they can become a pretty powerful and dangerous company in the gaming industry.
Crazy. Do you before we take this thing into landing? Do you want?
Yes, I wanted to add something really quick. I mean, they're taking pretty much the Nintendo approach. That's something that's going on. They're trying to get into everything. Same thing with CD Projekt Red. Look what CD Projekt Red is doing. They're trying to get it like Nintendo approach. They're trying to get into magazines. Trying to get into pretty much everywhere. So Tencent is gonna do that, and they're gonna be everywhere pretty soon. Pretty soon, like you said, and you said that, then Top Gun movie was like, no, that way I gotta look at this because I'm actually amazed at what you said. And now looking, I googled it and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
they actually.
Yeah. You see
Yeah,
the
it's
splash
insane.
screen, and obviously it was in theaters, and of course it was on home video.
Yeah.
Like as I started streaming it a couple weeks ago, I remember seeing it pop up, and as soon as
Yeah.
you said Top Gun, I was like, "Oh God, that's right. That was the
So-
movie. That was the one I saw it most recently in."
That is
Yes.
insane. I mean, we still don't know how deep it goes, but those guys are really coming out here to compete. And do you think, I want to ask you all a question. Do you think Microsoft is going to come up soon and compete like that? Is Microsoft going to invest in movies and buy stuff?
They already are. They have.
We have the TV show, yeah, but I'm saying like movies. I'm
I
saying
mean-
like they're going to buy movie companies or,
Buy movie companies.
yeah.
I mean, it all depends, because right now I think their main focus is gaming, and that's what they're focused on right now. I think what they're doing is they're renting out their IPs, and then eventually they can be like, okay, I want my IPs back, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna buy.
because Sony's doing that right now. Sony's grabbing everything they can and put it on TV or movies, everything they can. They're doing that, which is a
Yeah.
pretty good, not a bad thing because it's popular. So probably we'll see Microsoft do it in the future. Let's cross fingers.
Speaking about the future,
Mm-hmm.
let's take it to the future
Let's land this plane.
with our captain.
Yes.
Speaking about the future, Marty,
Hey,
we have to go back in time. But for now, we go to the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at our destination. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off this live stream. On behalf of Xbox International, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip. We look forward to seeing you aboard next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, I leave you with today's crazy co-pilot, Crazy Louie, for the outros.
Oh man, I hope that this time I don't mess up my outro like I did the other day. Sourblow was making fun of me. Sourblow, I'm gonna get you for that. No
I don't even
worries.
remember.
But either way, Sourblow, please, dear brother, tell everybody where they can find you.
All right. Well, you can find me and everywhere Sourblow18 on Xbox, on Twitter, and also on YouTube, where I have a compilation of game trailers that I make myself. I edit them. Of course, I grab content from the other trailers themselves, and I put them together and make my own trailer. So go check them out. Some of them are pretty funny. Some of them are not intended to be funny, but check that out. And I also would like you to check our XBI Twitter handle with our community manager. It's at XBI Podcast. Please follow that. That way you'll be up to date with all our promos or our information and etc. You'll be up to date with that. So that'll be my outros.
Right. Now for our handsome captain, Silent Cypher. So everybody, where they can find you, brother.
All right. Well, first off, real quick, before I jump into it, chat, thank you guys so much. So many familiar names and a few new ones in there this evening too, which was great to see. Always cool to see some new folks in, as well as our common lurkers and our brothers in arms over there at the midweek mix-up. And so it's good. But as far as where you can find me, I've been starting to play around with some different stuff. I think I mentioned it last week. I'm jumping on TikTok, playing around on there a little bit. I have another unboxing that I'm actually going to be doing here pretty shortly. Hopefully I can get in before I go on my vacation, but we'll see.
Is that on your OnlyFans?
On my OnlyFans? No, my feet pics are only on my OnlyFans. I keep it real like Alex. I only have an OnlyFans for my feet.
You know,
everything else I keep on TikTok and other social media. But on TikTok, on Xbox, on Twitter, all the social medias, you'll find me on there as Silent Cypher. You always find me hanging out in some of the other podcast chats as well. Sometimes I'm just lurking, but I'm usually around. I just can't always talk, depending on if I'm at work or not. But most importantly, obviously, you can catch me here every Wednesday with these beautiful gentlemen at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Xbox International.
Thank you. We love you too, Silent Cypher. We love you so much. Well, anyways. What?
There's your heart. Just for you, crazy.
Aw, thank you.
And sour.
And sour, yes. Nah, we don't love sour though. Sour's too mean. But anyways. First off, chat. Man, you guys were fantastic. You guys are awesome. Welcome, newcomers, and thank you for joining us here on our show. We had loads of fun watching you guys talk and hanging out with us. Really, you kept it rocking and going. Loved you guys. Really awesome, fantastic. And where can you find the crazy one? It's real simple. Hope I get this right. First things first, you can find me at Twitter at Crazy Louie Gaming, where I do a whole bunch of dances, a whole bunch of things, and do all sorts of crazy stuff. And also, you can find me now as a new panel member on Mondays at the Xbox Lunch Break Special at the Double Barrel Gaming YouTube channel at 12 p.m. noon with Mr. Boomstick, Fuzzy Belvedere, and Mr. Web Dave. And as always, here every single Wednesday at Xbox International with my brother Silent Cypher and Sourblow at 7 p.m. ET, going through everything that's on the gaming news. And guys, have a beautiful and awesome week. And like I always say, remember. Let's go. let's rock and let's get crazy. Yes, see you all next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Okay, one last time. Jim Rye.
Now, we would
Jim.
like to open the
It's on
floor
the
for
show, Jim.
questions. I would like to ask
What?
you to limit
What are you
your
putting
question
Brian?
to maximum 2 questions.
Fun.
If you have any
Okay, you
question,
put us the
please
camera then? Sam,
press
put the camera.
Yeah,
asterisk
I'll put it.
followed
I'll
by
send it
number
over.
1.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us in Xbox International. We are truly honored to have you here,
Oh.
sir. I know you're a really busy person, especially now with the whole acquisition. But tell me, Jim, what can you tell us about this acquisition? And have you really talked to the European Commission?
I talked to my friends at the European Commission because, in all honesty, I don't think that this should go through. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that other people think that they can compete with us. I feel like I don't understand the reason as to why the competition feels like they get to have a leg up on us like this. And so I talked to my friends there and my colleagues, and I told them, we can't let this be. You are British, you are PlayStation supporters, and I thought about it long and hard, and I think we got them sorted out. I think they're going to make the right decision when it comes down to it at the end of the day. But I think that's a concern for us as Sony, is people don't understand their place, and so we have to remind them that they can't just come in and steal our negotiations and our bargaining chips. They have to respect us because we're Sony.
What is it that you like